Hello guys, I am back from another video, and today we talking about deku was the Grim Reaper. So in the last video deku, after the whole last match between Izuku and Todoroki, it's finally time for the last match between him and Bakugo. But during the match, they were interrupted by a demon invasion thanks to Andros, an Archduke of Hell and one of the 72 demons of the Ars Goetia. A book made by, or at least I think in my head, made by the famous King Solomon, which apparently Andros is also a demon that serves under him when he originally had the the 10 rings that he had on his hands many years ago. So, Andros' plan was to kill Izuku and Maria because of the whole, interfering with hell thing. So, many people have finally realized that Izuku is not really normal. Especially with that, because of his scythe and also Maria as well. So, after Izuku defeated Andros and also the rest of the demons, let's just say the media caught on to this and they were interested about Izuku and many of the other churches around the world, mostly proclaiming to be Christian or anything like Christianity related churches, basically, including some heroes, but mostly students that are pretty interested in Izuku, especially after hearing that Izuku is actually a worshipper of Azrael, aka the Angel of Death. Let's just say everybody was super interested about, Izuku's involvement with that. But Izuku tells them all to get away from him and also tells them to don't annoy him because he's currently busy. And he prefers to not be called anything but just Izuku and prefers not to be annoyed because of the whole revealing everybody to the world that demons are real thing. So, when Izuku left school now, Izuku was walking alone, but Izuku definitely senses a presence. And that presence and that person that was following him was Ibarra. And that basically ended off that episode. So, I'm really sorry about the background music. Is because of my mother over there doing karaoke night. Sorry, but it's not in my control. I just let my mother do whatever the hell she wants because after all, she's kind of a hard worker and she does deserve some, free time. So, you have to deal with the noise from outside for now. So, yeah. So, anyway, let us begin the brand new episode of What If Deku Was a Grim Reaper. And so, let's talk about what happens next. So, Izuku, when Izuku looked over and sees Ibarra, Izuku just says this. So, I'm guessing that you're one of Class 1B's members, right? As she says this. Yeah. So, you proclaim to be a worshipper of the Angel of Death, Azrael, right? As Izuku just says this. Yes. Why, may you ask? As she says this. Well, I want to join your sanctum. As Izuku just says this. Excuse me, what? As she says this. I want to join you because you're a Christian, just like me. You're basically like me. You worship gods, specifically our god, the god, and you work under a angel, specifically an archangel, and that's awesome. As Izuku just says this. Sorry, kid, but this job is a bit dangerous for you. Besides, thanks to some demons having powers over plants, specifically, for example, Flaros, he would definitely kill you. He can even turn your quirk against you. So, sorry, but you're definitely not joining our sectum. I think it's better for you to just be a normal kid. as she says this. Just let me join. Are you seriously think that I'm weak? As Izuku just said. Sorry about that. Wait. Sorry about that. I still have that, that painful sensation in my throat. So I started coughing a little bit, so don't worry. I'm back to normal. Sorry. So, Izuku just says this. I told you, stop annoying me. Besides, you're just a normal person. Just live out your life like a normal person. Or just become a hero or something like that. The only reason why I became a hero or decided to become a hero is because I wanted to show how powerful I am. So I can show off that, you know, people can get powers from different places. But I also have another reason why that I decided to become a hero here. Is because I wanted to show, well, my power without, getting suspected of being, a villain or a vigilante. As she says this, I don't care. I want to become like you. As Izuku just says this, sorry, but we don't have places to do here, and it's better for you to just do like a normal kid would do. I'm leaving. As after that interaction, let's just say Ibarra started becoming a little bit mad. So, the next day comes as everybody is deciding their hero name, and all of you didn't decide for a hero name yet. Let me show you. Here, I asked all of you to, pick a name for each of the what ifs that I suggested. These are Mercenary, Grim Reaper, and the animatronic what if. I asked for all of you to decide a hero name for each of them. And I didn't even see any single one. I was pretty pissed off. So please, just pick a what if. Just like pick a name for each of the what ifs. Please, for the love of God. Okay? Good. So let's go back to the actual story. So, yeah. So, as everybody was going to be picking their hero names because of, well, for the story, and because you didn't pick a name for Izuku, I'm just gonna give Izuku a random, hero name for now. But all of you are going to be commenting down below or in the, community, tab, thing. I want all of you to pick a hero name for each of the what ifs that I suggested in that, community post. Okay? Good. So, Izuku was waiting for everybody to finish up all of their hero names as Izuku sees Bakugo's hero name being called Ground Zero, which Izuku remembers it's a type of term for an explosion. As Izuku just says this. What an interesting name. Anyway, as Izuku comes up, as everybody sees Izuku's hero name. Izuku's hero name was... I am Keiron, the Reaper hero. As everybody thought that his name was a bit weird, as one of them, being Momo, asked, why Keiron? I never heard that name before. As Izuku just says this. Well, Keiron is actually the name of a ferryman from Greek mythology, specifically from the underworld. As she says this. I mean, actually that kind of makes sense. After all, you are a worshipper of the Angel of Death. So it makes sense for you to decide to make your, hero name named after a person that represents death. As Izuku just says this. Exactly. So, let's begin the other thing, or whatever. As everybody was brought their papers so they can pick their internship. So, Izuku, while picking, decides to go for endeavors, obviously, because, Izuku still has a kind of crush on Todoroki. Even though everybody knows that Izuku already has a crush on Todoroki, even though they didn't know that like Todoroki is actually a guy yet. So they still think that Todoroki is, still a guy and not actually a girl. So, as Izuku started leaving, they were told that they're gonna be going to like different cities that are like wait first, that have their internships written down on there. Because Izuku decided to go for Endeavor's internship, Izuku starts going to that place, being, let's just say, near like Shibuya. Yeah, Shibuya. So, Izuku started moving there with some of his, companions that are decided to like join Endeavor's agency, being mostly just Bakugo and Todoroki, which when Bakugo was like seeing Izuku like right beside Todoroki, he says this. So, I can't believe that you're actually into guys, Izuku. I can't believe you that changed. As Izuku just says this. Whatever. As Todoroki was kinda sleepy. So, I meant she, not a he, because, it's actually a she. She starts sleeping on Izuku's shoulder, as for the whole ride, she was still sleeping on Izuku's shoulder for the rest of, like, you know, the, in the entire ride. As when they made it there, they see Endeavor right in front of the door, as he welcomes everybody, except for Shoto. Shoto, let's just say, she just looks at her father with disgust. Yeah, let's just say the whole, like, you know, daddy issues thing is up to 11, let's just say that. Anyway, wait for a second. Sorry about that. So, Izuku, while seeing all of this unfold, Bakugo starts laughing a little bit, saying, I'm guessing that Totally has some daddy issues. Hey, you might be into that, Izuku. As Izuku just says this, shut up, okay? So, as they were, like, looking around the entire, like, agency, because they were on a tour, and the one that's leading it was Endeavor and his subordinate. Which, I'm just going to say it's a really, like, low-level agent, aka a low-level, like, hero, maybe like, in the top, like, 60 or something. So, wait for a second again. So, while they start trotting around, Izuku sees some trophies, as Endeavor says this. So, you think my trophies are magnificent? As Izuku just says this. I mean, yeah, I guess. As he says this. Good. How about your involvement with my son? As Izuku just says this. Oh yeah. Um, as he looks over and sees Izuku and just starts coming closer to his ear. As he says this. Are you perhaps in love with my daughter? As Izuku just says this. Wait, daughter? As he says this. That's right. My son over there, Todoroki, is actually a girl. So, are you hereby, or should I say, really are in love with him? Or, or are you in love with her? Take your choice. As Izuku just says this. Well, I think I'm in love with her. As he says this. Wonderful. Now, are you perhaps willing to marry Todoroki? As Ezekiel just says this. Wait, marriage? I mean, I am Catholic, but I'm not really ready yet for a relationship. As he says this. Oh, don't worry. Besides, or should I say a she? She's quite a wonderful girl. But don't worry, she won't bite. As Bako said this. Hey, nerd, let's go over here. We see something interesting. As Izuku looks over and sees a large training room. As Endeavor says this. Ah yes, our most greatest training room. In fact, it's a personal training rooms. So, would you like to fight here? As Izuku just says this. Sure. As he says this. Wonderful. Now, would you like to fight my son? As Todoroki just says this. What are you doing, father? As he says this. I told you to shut up. Now, would you like to fight my daughter? I mean, my son? As Bakugo said this. Wait, daughter? As Izuku just says this. I think he might have said something wrong. Just to, think that, like, stop thinking that Todoroki is probably, like, not as he seems. As he says this. Oh, yeah. I mean, he kinda looks girlish. As Todoroki just says this. Father, why did you decide for me to just fight Izuku? As he says this. You better listen, you little brat. Anyway, let us start the fight. Now, Izuku, you can go first. You can start changing right now. So, Izuku goes to like the wait for a second. Goes to the changing room and starts changing some of his clothes. Because he was quite sweaty in his hero costume. As he goes into the official Endeavor training clothes, which was branded by him, and the reason why he did it is because of sponsorships. Yeah. Yeah, let's just say in this world, sponsorships are pretty much important to them. Anyway, wait for a second. So, while Izuku was changing, Izuku looks over and sees, well, Todoroki come into the, changing room. As Izuku just says this. Oh, hello Todoroki. As she says this. Oh, Izuku. Izuku and Todoroki look at each other weirdly. As she says this. Izuku, please look over there. As Izuku just says this. Well, yeah, you are a girl. As she says this. Anyway, what did my old man told you? Like, is it something important, or as Izuku just says this? Well, your father proposed that, well, if you wanted to marry me. As she just she goes into a rant as she says this. Wait, he said that? As Izuku just says this. Yeah, apparently he wanted me to marry you. And even said that she is not what that, Todoroki was not as he seems. He even said that Todoroki is not even a boy. As she says this. Why that old man? As Izuku just says this. Todoroki, just calm down. As she says this. That bastard's gonna pay for his... As she realizes that she wasn't wearing a bra at that time. Because, logic, anime logic. And she looked towards Izuku, while Izuku looked towards Todoroki. As Izuku just says this. Sorry, as she says this. You damn pervert! As Izuku gets slapped across the face. Yeah, some more anime logic in my what ifs. How fun. Anyway, so after Izuku started going off to going off to the, to the training area, where Izuku was brought to, wait for a sec, to Endeavor, as Endeavor says this. Whoa, it seems that you, Izuku, have a strong affinity to my costume, especially with my training clothes. They look absolutely exquisite on you. As Izuku just says this. Thank you, Endeavor. As he says this. Oh, don't worry. Just call me, I don't know. For a second. Just call me father-in-law for now. As Todoroki says this. Father! As he says this. Do not talk with me, you little brat. As, well, time stopped at that moment. As he says this. Alright, anyway, let us start the battle. Now, begin! As Izuku starts charging towards Todoroki, wielding his, scythe, Thanatos. as Thanatos says this. So, boss, who are we fighting? As he looks over and sees Todoroki. As he says this. Wait, we're gonna be fighting a normal human? As Izuku just says this. Well, after all, we did show ourselves. As he says this. Well, yeah, the sports festival. Uh, anyway, so, do we meet to beat her down, or as Izuku just says this? We just meet to defeat her. As he says this. Well, I am good with that. As Izuku starts cracking his neck, like snapping his neck a little bit. As Izuku just says this. Well then, let's have some fun, Todoroki. As Todoroki starts using her ice side, As Izuku starts creating his soul fire. As Endeavor says this. So, that's his fire. It's blue in color, similar to my other son. That rebel bastard. But he is stronger and much more diligent, as Izuku starts creating more fire, which burns more of the ice. As Todoroki gets ready to smack Izuku right in the head, Izuku blocks it with Thanatos. As Thanatos says this. Really think that you can actually beat me, little girl? As she says this. Wait, that scythe can talk? As Izuku just says this. Yep, meet Thanatos, the fallen angel that was given to me by Azrael as a weapon. As he just says this. Yeah, I'm also his partner. So, I can't believe that they decided to let you take me down. What a little brat. As she says this. Take this! As she starts creating more ice. Izuku, with Thanatos, starts slicing the ice with no, resistance. It's basically like cutting through butter. If the butter was, soft as, a baby's buttocks. So, after slicing it several times, Izuku comes closer to Todoroki. Wait for a second. Izuku comes closer to Todoroki, and just kicks her right in the chest, defeating her and making Izuku the winner. As Endeavor just claps his hands, just goes the slow clap, the typical slow clap, like this. Yeah, he goes like that. As Izuku just says this. Why, thank you, Mr. NG. As he says this. Just call me father-in-law. Actually, just call me father then. Anyway, Todoroki, you're an absolute failure. Did you seriously lose? As she says this. Or just he. Do not talk to me, father. You're just annoying. As she starts running away. As Izuku just says this. Wait, Todoroki. As Endeavor pulls him aside. As Endeavor just says this. Just leave her, Izuku. After all, she's just a teenager. How annoying. Anyway, we should start our patrol. As Izuku just says this. But how about Todoroki? As he says this. Don't worry. My friends will help her out for a bit. They will discipline her. As Izuku just says this. Okay. So, as Izuku decides to, go on a patrol with, not Todoroki, I meant, with Bakugo, let's move back to, wait for a second, to Endeavor. Endeavor was completely mad at Todoroki, as he says this. You're a useless little shit. How the hell did I give birth to you? How the hell How am I even your father in the first place? You're pathetic, you're weak, and... He was so frustrated. As Todoroki says this. I am not a soldier. I'm just a normal girl. As he says this. Quiet! I told you. You're pretending to be a guy, remember? You're not a girl, you're a boy. And remember, after that little incident, I will never ever forgive you. But I am planning to forgive you if you marry Izuku, as she says this. Come again? As she says this. I meant he. That's right. I am maybe planning for you to marry Izuku. After seeing his... after hearing his powers, maybe, if he were to marry you and gave birth to a child, maybe the child's quirk will be even more powerful. And that would mean a powerful grandchild. As Todoroki says this, you're insane, I would never do that. As he says this, you... You've been a thorn in my side for a long time. You're supposed to be the greatest out of all of your siblings. You're pathetic. Now, if you don't want to listen, then get out of this house. Get out of our family. And if you don't want to leave, then just stay here and live by my rules. Got it? Wait for a second. As Todoroki says this. Whatever, old man. As Todoroki leaves, as Endeavor says this. That pisses me off. It reminds me of my mother. So, this will be the end of the episode. So yeah, it's gonna be a cliffhanger. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.